What's up, everybody? It's your boy, the Italian Stallion, ready for another episode of Rebels with a Cause. You know what time it is, baby. It's Tuesday night, and that can only mean one thing. It's time for the cause, because that cause don't stop when the clock hits zero. Gonna have a great show tonight. Lots to talk about, man. I got to give some love to the chat box. I hope that everybody participates. And more importantly, we've got to take care of that housekeeping business. We got a lot of shout outs and a lot of congratulations to give tonight. We're gonna talk some Rebels basketball, how they did in the Ville. I mean, it was really a true round robin of the three teams, and we did very well. Could have swept, but it's something to grow. We'll get into that here in shortly. But just remember, as always, guys, the views and opinions of this program are not affiliated with those of any other organization or of West High School. This is solely the views and opinions of the RWAC crew. That is myself, the Italian Stallion, two-pair Tate, Brian Tate, the coach statsman himself, Mr. Shane O'Mac. So just keep that in mind when you're watching the show, either live or recorded. And don't always, please hesitate. Hit that like and subscribe button, share it with everybody, and love and shout outs to the 76 subscribers that we have. Hoping for 176 by this time next year. More importantly, definitely join us in that chat box. Point out where we have inaccurately said something in air. Voice your opinions. We want to hear from you, baby, because this cause is just yours as well. We in this together, and it's all about Rebels with a Cause. Whether you're actually an alumni or if you just are a fan of the show, and a fan of the three of us. So shout out to my little 5-month-old niece that actually held her attention to our last show for 20 minutes, and it got her from crying. That's a true story from my sister, her mom. So anyway, she must like us three good looking guys. But anyway, I also want to give some love out to the chamber, King's Chamber, Miss Kim Castle and Rachel Davis. Tuesday through Saturday, 11 to 7, Sunday 12 to 6. Go pay them a visit. They'll take care of you. You let them know that Rebels with a Cause sent you, and $20 off your entire bill. The beard trims, the haircuts, the manicures, the pedicures. They definitely make you feel like a king there. 2 tasty beverages. It is the true royal treatment at that chamber. Also, got to give a shout out to a fellow alum, a class of 2003 grad to be exact, Mr. Alex Thatcher. Go definitely pay him a visit there at Knoxville Coffee Company. Him and his daddy make that good brew right there in the heart of Marble City, right off of Sutherland Avenue. It's good any time of the day, so definitely go pay him a visit. Anyway, anytime you can. Also, got to give some love to my boy Two Pair Tate's Big Facts Sports Network. Follow him at 332 Studios. Definitely, he's there to entertain, and he's doing. I'm so happy for him right now, and we're going to bring him on here shortly. But I feel like this is like the BT from almost 20 years ago, man, reincarnated. So doing what he was born to do, and that is entertain and drop some knowledge on you guys. So definitely give him some support. And also got to give some love to my other co-host. He's doing some freelance right now. If you have any electrical problems, do not hesitate. Give a call to 865-299-3206. It's the holidays. Christmas is a week away. We'll do a programming note about that for next week, because we are celebrating 1 year on this show. So we're going to have a nice celebration. We'll talk more about that as well later on and give you the details. But, it's Christmas time. You cannot have any electrical problems, family, friends visiting from out of town. Don't hesitate to give Mr. Shane O'Mac a call. He'll fix you up and get you taken care of. So without further ado, though, let's get this thing started, because we got a lot to cover and a lot to talk about and not much time to do so. But we'll be here as long as you guys are interested and the conversation's flowing, because that's what we do here on the cause. So let's bring on my co-host properly. And whether you're watching it live or recorded, show them that love and give them that round of applause that they deserve. First and foremost, he is the voice of the running Rebels and Lady Rebels for now 19 years. That's almost a generation, baby. 19 years. You hear me? And he called a hell of a game last night. I'm sorry I missed it, but I could just feel the energy from far away in North Carolina. That being said, though, he's also forever immortalized as the Mr. 2003 West. Doing so many things right now. I'm sure he'll give shout outs and let everybody know that you can support him on any of his platforms. He appreciates the love just like we do on this show. But he's my favorite Florida State Seminole. Give him the love and proper respect he deserves. The one, the only Mr. Two Pair Tate, Brian Tate. What is up, baby?
What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up?
What is up, man? How the Lady Vols doing right now? What's going
They're up.
on?
They're up 10 with 9:07 to go.
And they're on the
Uh,
road, right? Is that? It looks like
six,
that's Memphis, right? Or
69-59 right now up against Memphis. Want to give a big shout out to one of my favorite coaches. He's over there at Putnam. My man Greg Kinzada. My man Coach Smooth, as I like to call him. You know what I'm saying? Give a big shout out to him. Throw the dubs up. Um, yeah, it was a tough one last night. It was a definitely tough game to lose. And I really like Coach Eggleston's calm, cool demeanor. But he said they know what they need to fix, and it's on them.
Mhm.
And you saw this week how they looked Friday night against Austin East. You saw the way they looked Saturday night, where they just played that gritty defense, not allowing a rhythm for Fulton.
Mhm.
Then they go into Bearden, and you have turnovers, you have bad inbound passes, you have missed free throws, you have fouls, you have turnovers, more turnovers, free throws missed. And I think the third game was the telltale sign. Like, if you can beat Austin East, Fulton, and Bearden in a week, you have made your stamp as the best team in the state.
Can I also say this? You're missing one of the best players in the state, and you almost did it without him. So that just tells you where this team could possibly go once
Mm-hmm.
he gets healthy. And those are facts. You cannot
Those are
ignore that.
facts. Yeah.
Look, you roll with who you go with. But this team had injury problems last year that held them
Mm-hmm.
back to their full potential. And they fought weather. They fought a lot of adversity. And I am excited for round two. I know we got a lot of basketball before then, but hats off to Bearden, what they did. God, the squad that we know we have and what they're capable of, I
Mm-hmm.
think West win by 10 points. If that's the best Bearden can give last
Yeah.
night, and West with all the turnovers, all the missed free throws, because I watched the game kind of on Huddle. It was available and so forth.
Mm.
And I couldn't hear, but I could definitely, watch what was going on. And I was a little disappointed in the crowd, BT. I'm not going to lie. For a Bearden
Yeah.
West game, that should have been standing room only. I get it;
Yeah.
it's a Tuesday
Exactly.
night, but damn, man, it's Bearden and West, and I remember we filled that gym back in the day. When it was Bearden versus West, no matter how bad West was, or anything like that. So yeah,
I feel like what if that game was a Friday?
definitely. No, and it should be played on a Friday. I mean, I know you
I don't
can't
think
help the
you play.
schedule.
Yeah,
The
I don't
next
think you
one's on
play
a
Beard.
Tuesday too. The
You
next
don't.
one's on a Tuesday.
You don't
So
play Beard in West on Tuesdays.
no, that's a
That's
Friday night.
not. That is
That
a Friday night game
No, you do the Blount
because
County games on Tuesday. I'm
well,
sorry. So yeah.
and I wanna give big kudos to Mark Packer who was in the house, and I told Mark Packer that our goal with Rebels with a Cause is if we can get enough sponsorship to get it to where you've made football. It's like once you told me the numbers and the facts and figures, it can be done. And you need a game like Beard and West
Mm,
on television on a
hmm
Friday night,
Or a Fulton versus Austin East on a
Fulton
Friday night.
Austin East.
Catholic versus Webb.
Exactly.
Yes,
Just
yes. The
those
traditional
games,
matchups. Yes.
traditional matchups. And not even do it in a way of how Rivalry Thursday is a total production and everything. Like Friday Night Hoops can be something very intimate
Yes.
on IG, Facebook, StreamYard,
Mm-hmm.
Blue Diamond Media.
Yep. Yep.
You can make it like that in Friday Night Hoops. 5 Star Preps sponsor some of this stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
On 3, like the more sponsors you get to take up like at least $10,000 to $20,000 for us to have Friday Night Hoops. Look at the teams you could play from Atlanta, the
Mm-hmm.
teams you could play from Charlotte, the
Mm-hmm.
teams you can play from South Carolina,
Absolutely. Alabama was in
Alabama.
town just last week playing Alcoa.
They
So
were playing Alcoa.
absolutely.
But
Yep.
that's what we could really do. And I think, with partnerships like Big Fat Sports Network, down in Atlanta, 94 Feet Podcast. Shout out to Cam Tatum and Skinny doing their thing on there. It's
Nice.
so cool to see Cam Tatum interviewing basketball player, like a
As it
pro
should be.
interviewing a pro.
As
You
it
know what I'm
should be.
saying?
As it should be.
I'm all for that, man. I love what Skinny's doing with kicking it with Cuz, all on the Big Fats Network, man. Yeah, Big Fat Sports Network. Big up.
Well, I'll tell you this, man. I know he's been itching backstage to give his
Mhm.
thoughts on a lot of things. We got some housekeeping to do too before we delve into that Bearden game more in depth and so forth, as well as the performance in the Ville. But I got to bring him on with his proper introduction. He is our coach. He is our stats guy. Father of the year, hell of a cook. Still looking for that special someone, ladies. So definitely hit him up and so forth. I gave you the phone number, so you know, see what's up. But we love him. He's a part of the show. Glad to have him a part of it. Give him the proper respect and love that he deserves. The one, the only, Mr. Shane O'Mac, Shane McGee. What is up, baby? How you doing?
What's up? What's up? What's up?
What's good, Shane?
So first things first. What time is it? It is 10:16. So in 44 minutes, or excuse me, an hour and 44 minutes, my oldest daughter turns 19. So I will go ahead and say happy birthday, Munchkin.
Happy birthday.
Can't believe you're 19. Holy crap. I'm old, but hey.
Hey, no, we are old. I feel it.
Happy birthday to my firstborn. My A1 since day one. The one who made me a dad, the one who pushed me to be the best version of me. Happy birthday, Munchkin. I love you. Proud of the woman you're becoming. I don't know if you watch this, but hey, Dad loves you. Happy birthday.
Well, happy birthday to her. Happy birthday to her. And yeah, we are old. I feel it, man. I can't make these 5-hour drives in the middle of the night like I used to for business.
Man, I was driving home. I was driving home like from work. You got the rain and it's dark, and I was like, I have reached the age where I will not drive in the rain and dark.
Yeah, no, I hear you. No, it was raining cats and dogs this afternoon. Honestly, when I was
I was driving.
So, yeah.
I want to say also rest in peace to the troughs at Neyland.
Oh, is it gone?
They were all gone now.
Oh wow!
I watched something down today.
Yeah. Speaking of the Vols, we got a lot to talk about them. So if you're a fan of the Vols, stick around because we will talk about all the exciting things happening with the men's and women's team in basketball, football, Saturday night, baby. They got some serious business. Saturday night.
And they're taking a trip to Neyland North, according to Apple Maps.
And let me tell you something. I talked with somebody at a business meeting I was at, and I'll just tell you this. A lot of the guy I talked to, a lot of his frat buddies and him bought up tickets to go up there and coordinated with somebody that knows how the Ohio State people sit, and they're even coordinating shirts and jerseys of how to be worn. So do not be surprised if a little checkerboard is put in, and they're buying them from Ohio State, honestly. So keep an eye on the crowd on Friday night, or Saturday night, rather. Sorry.
There was also the Tennessee fan who posed as an Ohio State fan, got the season ticket holder deal, posted it on Twitter. Like 40-something% of the tickets that have been sold so far came out of the state of Tennessee.
Wow.
22% were out of Ohio.
Wow. I'm telling you, I'm telling you, man. Vol fans travel. They know what's going on right now. They're going to win on Saturday night. I'm putting it on there. Tennessee will beat Ohio State, and you can thank me next whenever we have the next show, which I'm thinking we might probably do Thursday, the day after Christmas, if you all are good with that. And technically, that would be our 1 year anniversary of when we had the show. So that's a fact right there. I do want to say this. We need to give a shout out to one of our first guests. He's a member of that OG group that is the only district tournament champs at West High School, and that is the one and only Big Mike Morrow. Congratulations on now he is Dr. Big Mike Morrow. Got that PhD in special education. I know you worked your butt off for it. You talk about a rebel with a cause. That man right there, Dr. Big Mike Morrow now, honestly, and so forth. And I hope to see him and the rest of the OGs show up for that game. Two-pair, I know that you and me on Facebook and all social media have been trying to reach out to the guys to make sure that they're in town because, I want Coach Petco there, Coach Lindsay. It needs to be a reunion because 25 years ago, they were the first and only team, and hopefully this year's version can join them in that ranks and have that beautiful picture where they all posed with the trophy. So it's going to be a special night with that reunion, and hopefully maybe we can even go live for that game and so forth and get some of them on and everything like that too, just like we did when they honored the 2014 OGs and the 10-year anniversary of that. But 25 years, man, we all old. I'm telling you. So,
we've hit it.
I got the reminder here in about an hour and a half.
Yeah, exactly.
The big anniversary.
We were talking to our old Marine Corps buddies. We were all deployed outside Baghdad. And, my daughter was born, so three of us had kids on that deployment, all within a couple of months of each other. Really, actually, a few weeks.
Wow. And that was 19 years ago. And that was
19-year-olds.
Wow.
We were all in our early 20s. And it still feels like yesterday. And I'm also saying, it's like, holy crap, I've literally gone my daughter's entire lifetime since my second deployment.
Wow.
And I can still remember that deployment like it was yesterday.
Yeah, time flies. Time flies, man. So, yeah. Got some more congratulations to hand out. How about our guy, Rod Ellerby, Region 2-5A Offensive Assistant Coach of the Year? I couldn't think of a guy more devoted, more loyal to West. He is West, and I am so happy for him to get that award, man. Love Rod Ellerby, dude. Love him.
You know what? I don't think, Rod Ellerby gets really the credit he deserves. This award is it's a testament to his knowledge of player development and putting guys in the right place at the right time on that offensive end. But it's more so the characters that you see these young men have became under his leadership and his tutelage and his knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
You see these young men as, they're high character kids. They're well disciplined. They just do all the right things at the right time. And it's a testament to Coach Ellerby, man. He is a foundational piece to West. You can't think of any of those championships without saying his name. Because, he's a great offensive mind, man.
Along with him and the Shavers, they have three rings. They have the three rings, and Lamar's staff and so forth came after that. But realistically, Scott and Morgan Shavers and Rod Ellerby are the holdovers from that 2014 group that have connected from past to present or what have you.
Yeah.
And they have 3 championship rings. And that's the sustainability of where this program has stayed in the conversation, whether we win those beautiful things behind me or we hang a banner for just even participating in the playoffs. You know what I mean? But shout out to Rod. And then of course, he was a guest on our show, gives us love all the time.
Absolutely.
I consider him a friend, honestly, and a wonderful human being and leader of young men. And I wouldn't want any other coach leading our program. And he deserved it think about the consistency of what he has lost in the last couple years, and had us a bad call away from probably winning a third one in a row,
I
to be
think
honest
so.
with you.
I think
And
so.
oh my God. And the coaching job he did, having to replace the key guys every year. Congrats to our guy, head coach Lamar Brown, coach of the year in Region 2-5A, baby. So well deserved, man. Honestly.
let me say this about Coach Brown. Like, he said something. It's not just all about state championships. Like, I thought that was really big. You know what I'm saying? That's really big for a guy who knows how to win state championships. Tells you it's not about state championships. It's about developing young men. You know what I'm saying? And like, he's the coach you run through a brick wall for.
Absolutely.
Like, he's the coach that if he asks me, if he says jump, I'm gonna ask him how high.
Absolutely.
Like,
And
that's the
even
type of
in my
coach,
position, yeah, I mean, Trooper, even in my position on support staff, I tell him, Coach, anything you need, you let me know. Whatever I can do to help. And, I consider him a friend, and I'm grateful for the opportunity that him and Scott Shavers gave me to be on the support staff. Honestly, anything that I can do, whether it's, trash from the stadium and so forth like that, to make that palace look beautiful. That's the thing right there. And you're right, man. And if I was blessed with a son, I'd want him to play for Lamar Brown. Honestly, that's a fact. So,
but I just think the real cool thing is like how accepting of the alumni.
Oh, yes.
Like, they are very accepting of alumni.
And they've reached out. I mean, they want to know what year you graduated from, the years you played, your position. They want to come back. And that's the atmosphere when you see a CJ back visiting from college, or Braden Latham, or even the guys from like 3 or 4 years ago, his first teams, they come back. And that's what I've wanted for this program for so long, that the alumni come back. You know what I mean? And it's a testament to the One West, Paul Romero. We can't thank him enough for his support. The best athletic director in the state, in my opinion.
He might be the best athletic director in the state. This man is Paul Romero is the GOAT. When it's all said and done, he's gonna turn that sports program into a business model that all high schools are gonna have to adapt. Like, just the way, think about it. He's already ahead of the curve. You have the West Sports app. You have a dedicated app to get every score, highlight, everything. Then you got, in the fan zone, you got Rebels with a Cause, where you can look up all the past episodes.
I mean,
like,
social media presence. The social media presence is huge, And I think the other thing too with him is he's not afraid to roll up his sleeves. I mean, he was right there moving the bricks and everything, getting the stadium ready for that first game, and we worked our butts off. And not only that, he was doing stats at the game the other night. He was doing the stats. I mean, anything to help out. And that's the kind of dude he is. And he does everything with that passion, man. Even though he didn't graduate from West, he has been involved in some capacity as a teacher, as principal, as now athletic director, and so forth like that. I'm telling you, it's a special guy. And he's very passionate. He's a rebel with a cause, man. He definitely is. So,
no, he's absolutely the best, man. Like, I can't say enough. Like, he's made the alumni, like, once you get the alumni, it's forever.
It is forever, man.
You pretty much,
you're a rebel for life.
You're a rebel for life.
You are. So
think about it, Shane. When's the last time you were ever on West High Field till this year as a player?
Last time I was on the field was as a coach. Oh shit! It would have been when my daughter played, and that's back when we did bowl games. So this is back before they had the middle school league.
That's what I'm saying.
So it's been a minute.
Look how long ago that was to where you were back on the field this year as you know what I'm saying, guy that actually played. You know what I mean? Like James, you know what I'm saying? Play like both y'all played, you know what I mean?
I mean, the last time I was on the field was when I was broadcasting for Channel 8 with a camera in my arm, and so forth for highlights for Friday Night Hits or whatever the show was called at the time because it's changed.
Outside of coaching, so as a West alumni and player, this has probably been somewhere between 8 to 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
They did an alumni night for football players. Only 3 people showed up.
Oh, how sad.
But it was like last minute stuff that they put together.
Yeah.
And it was me and some dudes from like the class of like the 60s or 70s.
Wow. So, well, hopefully if we do that again with the organization now in place and with our voice, we can get more people that will definitely show up and make an appearance for sure. So absolutely.
Like I've gone to games, but being on that field against the Sevier County game, being on the sideline, it took me back to 99 to 02.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure. This is our second season, Two-Pair, covering West basketball, and it's just so nice to be greeted with so much love and respect when we come into the gym and they know who we are and
our second
like
season
that,
doing football too.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be coming up with the second season of football too. So for sure. I mean, it's just special to be there. And we even had a conversation with the baseball coaches, and they want us to. They'll be on the show, and also invited us to do a game, over there and so forth like that too. So that was really fun to talk to them on Saturday.
Rebels with a Cause baseball show.
Yeah, I'd love to even do boys soccer if we can get the stars to align with that.
Soccer,
if
MLS
we can do it,
edition.
so be nice.
I will hit up a track meet.
You know what? A track meet would be nice because I'm sure there's some football guys that do track. So.
Hey, all I'm saying, players who are watching, those players.
We got to get our correspondence. Like
we do.
Hey,
that is
something out there. We're putting this disclaimer out there. We really want to have a lot of the students participate in Rebels with a Cause, being correspondents, treated like ESPN.
I've got the perfect solution to this. Possibly. Tennessee Promise. Kids have to do 8 hours of community service.
Okay.
If this can tie into doing community service, because we're serving our community, if we can set up with the school, and it's basketball season right now, we get some correspondence, perfect time. Get those 8 hours you need for that Tennessee Promise.
8 hours.
And we got the spring sports coming up, softball, swimming right now too. Probably. So, yeah.
We trying to build this like ESPN, man.
We are.
Like that's why it's on Big Sports Network.
We'll come out with the top 10 plays of West every week if y'all still doing this.
Absolutely.
If there's a way that this could work as community service, and those seniors who need to get those 8 hours for the Tennessee Promise, hey, there you go, right there.
That's a great suggestion right there. Definitely need to throw that out there. Speaking of the alumni, Two-Pair, I want you to shout this out and so forth, because I didn't even know about this, but how special of a group of people that are behind this and so forth when it comes to the alumni. Go on ahead and give that shout out, because this is really special stuff.
Yeah, thanks to the West Side parents and faculty for the Alumni Foundation, Mrs. Martin, Shonda Jones, Gina Birch, Jilly Strong, just phenomenal. The Key family, everybody that is in that alumni foundation, the Schulers. I was just trying to think of as many names as I could, so I didn't want to leave anyone out, because I thought that was so dope, which I did for the former players, that they gave them nice little gift baskets. Awesome. Right before Christmas. It was really dope.
No,
So
that's so
definitely
awesome. And
shout out
again,
to
that
them
just
on that one.
shows that
Yeah.
one West community. That it's all about the W, baby. That's that one West community more than anything. And
Mhm.
definitely, want to give a shout out to this guy, Mr. Kerry Rivas. Great show so far tonight. Glad I finally have a chance to watch and listen to the best podcast on the air. Brother, I've kept you in my prayers. I hope that the health issues are behind you and you're back to normal. We love you, big guy. And I hope that the holidays are treating you very well, my friend. And thank you for the love and support all the time on the show, man, honestly, and your text messages. And just know that we're always thinking of you and praying for you, brother. So, hope the health issues are behind you for sure. So, but yeah, chat box, get out there, let us know what you think and everything like that. But definitely want to give a shout out to everyone involved with this. And it just is the one West that we all preach. And again, it's not just a slogan. It's a way of life. It's a rebel with a cause type of thing. You just wouldn't understand if you ain't a part of it. So that being said, let's talk about what happened last night. It was it was a region game, big region game for positioning of that tournament, that all important tournament coming up, and it'll be here before you know it. But it was also the unofficial championship of the Ville because Bearden and West both handled Austin East and Fulton in different fashions. And you and me even talked about it a little bit too, Pear, and we'll get to those games separately because each game was different. You
Each
come
game
out
was different.
night. Yeah, you come out Friday night and you're at Fulton. West and Austin East was the first game, and West dominated that game. And then, to think that you have to play back-to-back games, there's not even a day of rest. I mean, this is like a true district tournament almost type of thing. And, you get tired legs. And so literally the next day, maybe the score wasn't as impressive, but you grind it out against a very young, scrappy Fulton team and win. Bearden, on the other hand, blew out Fulton in that first game, but really it was neck and neck. And finally, they pulled away from Austin East in the second game the next day. So realistically, the teams had Sunday and Monday to recover. They meet at West, and realistically, I was, and I'm going to throw up the score. Bearden ended up taking it 64-56. But when West jumped out to 9-2, I was like, they're ready for this. They're ready. And then Bearden goes on a 9-0 run to take an 11-9 lead. And then West, I believe, gets a 3-pointer. And at the end of the first quarter, it's 12-11. But to pair one thing, and Shane, if you want to chime in on this too, because this is something that has concerned me in all of the games that we have played, whether we've won or lost. The first quarter seems to be West's in every game that they've played. But the second quarter, there has been a drop off with the intensity. And the thing is yes, you may have had maybe a player or two interchange, but it's still the main core that's out there. And what I would like to see as an improvement with these holiday tournaments coming up, and as you get into the meat of the region, is that drop off doesn't happen in the second quarter, and that you sustain that and build that lead and take away all hope, and then even continue it into the third and fourth quarter before you finally win the game. That's what I'm waiting for from this team, for that killer instinct, regardless of who's available to play and who isn't. And sure enough, in that first quarter, if you don't let them go on that 9-0 run, and like you said, Two-Pair, you're knocking down the free throws that you're given, you're not turning the ball over, and being careless with the ball. That led to those opportunities. So my question is, what needs to be done? And this is for both of you, that intensity doesn't drop off for those fast starts. Obviously, teams make adjustments, but at the same time, don't help the other team with said adjustments.
I almost look at it like, makes me think of track. Like, I was a 200 runner, and you kind of pace yourself that first 100 meters, and then really give everything you got that last 100 to 50, depending on how you run it. And I can see it being one of those where it's, all right, we're gonna go all out right here. We're gonna relax and adjust in that second quarter, then we're gonna come back out in that third and fourth. But depending on the teams you go up against, like Bearden's a very streaky team. I've watched them over the years, obviously, and you give them an inch, they'll take a mile.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's how they're designed to play. They don't have the big dominant big guys like they've had before, but they've got shooters.
Mm-hmm.
They've got guys that can drive. So you give them that. You give a team like Bearden that opportunity to where they can play their game. They're going to take advantage of it really quick.
Shout out to 332 Studios and my guy Mark Machado for showing some love. Honestly, showing some love. So yeah,
and I'm friends with Coach Parrott. I've known him forever. Coach's son, Drew. So like I know how he plays, and I've been there for state championship games and all that stuff. So
yeah,
you have a guy who's won a ball, and has played over a couple. You got to be balls to the wall the whole time.
Yeah.
So.
Two pair. One thing I also noticed from last night, it seemed that every time West like cut into that lead, they would either, there'd be a foul call or something that they just couldn't take advantage. And it seemed like they could not get over that hump to tie and take the lead back. And they were playing from behind the rest of the game. And granted, you're missing a key player, but at the same time, you were your own worst enemy, as you mentioned at the beginning of the show, without making those free throws as well as turning the ball over. And like Shane said, you can't do that against a team like Bearden that's very well disciplined. I mean, that's just my opinion.
Yeah, you can't. And I gotta say, Coach Parrott, man, he has those guys playing well. I mean, that coaching staff is really, really good. He's got one of the great former players that played at Oak Ridge on some tough teams back in the day. You know what I'm saying? Like they got a great coaching staff.
They do.
One thing I will say is Nordine is the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you have Reese Clark,
that could have been neutralized a little bit.
I think that can be a little neutralized a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I
think you
in that game contained a kid like what's his name, Justin Nordine.
Yeah,
that kid is a phenomenal shooter. Phenomenal. I mean, I remember watching that kid in middle school because he's supposed to be my daughter's class, and he reclassified.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, and we saw it last year. We saw glimpses, and it looks like he's taken that next step that we as opponents were afraid of. Great for him, but we saw it in flashes in those 3 games last year, and this year it seems like he really has put it together. A lot of those kids have. I mean, and that's a tribute to their coaching staff, honestly.
I mean shout out to Coach Parrott. He's put some kids in some D1 schools. They made transfer after they got on campus after a year in the program, but he's put kids into D1 programs. So,
oh yeah,
he knows what he's doing, and you got to bring your A game when you play beer, no matter what it is.
Absolutely. Shout out to that chat box. Keep it going, baby. Keep it going. You post something, we're putting it up there. So yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's the other thing too that I was a little concerned with. With the game because realistically, you look at the magnitude of the games that happened at the Ville too. You're already kind of shorthanded, but truth be told, I almost felt that I was worried about the legs. I really was because that's a lot of intense basketball over a 5-day period, even with the rest of Sunday and Monday. Plus, it's a rivalry game. It was at West. It could have easily been at Beard, and it's just how the schedule fell this year. But, like you said, Two-Pair, it's a real shame that game was played last night as opposed to this Friday night. How hot would that be on a Friday night coming up? You know what I mean?
But, Mark Packer said, he's always thought about having a Friday night like hoops, but in order for him to do that, it would it would have to be a thing of where the sponsorship level is that of what the sponsorship level for Rivalry Thursday is.
And they got some big sponsors. They do.
And man,
Law
Rivalry
firms,
yeah,
and yeah, I mean,
it's crazy.
The
And I
only
told
game,
Mark Packer it can be built though. I really think if you get the marquee games that people are going to be at, and it's only going to be Fridays, so it doesn't need to be the full on production that you have with Rivalry Thursday.
the only game that I can think of where you're going to get the packed house is a Bearden Farragut, because I've been to so many of those games. And if you're not there by the time the girls' game is starting, you have nowhere to sit.
Yeah, no, that's a fact. No, that's absolute facts. So,
Like
yes.
I've been to games where like my daughter's like, Dad, like when she was on the cheer team, I was like, all right, like she would ride with her friends, like, if you're gonna be at this game, you need to be here now. And then, even then, I'm looking for a seat. Like there's times I've had to walk all the way up to they got the double decker stands, like all the schools do, like we do, and Bearden does, and like it is packed. Like, there's nowhere. It is rowdy and it is hot. Now, there's one year we went to a game. It was snowing outside because of how hot it was in the gym. I walked out in a t-shirt.
Yeah, and it probably felt good. I mean,
I may have almost forgot that I had my son that night. Got in the car
and just left him.
My daughter was like, "We're missing something." I was like, "What are we missing?" Oh shit, Keegan.
Yeah. Well, let me just show you this. You've got the 332 Studios given some matchups. Off the top of my head, how could we forget Alcoa versus Maryville? It's just as intense in basketball as it is in football. That would get asses in the seats. You could have Alcoa. You could have Alcoa against. Here, I got one for you guys. I got Alcoa against Austin East, baby. That was an intense game last year. Alcoa versus Fulton. I mean, Alcoa versus West was a hell of a game last year where, it was standing room only. You even had Austin East and Fulton players and fans there to kind of scout both teams because they were both on the schedule, of what to face. So, I mean, and here's the other thing too. I know football schedules are made in advance, but basketball, other than your district games, you can kind of play a little bit with basketball. If the coaches agree, the ADs, and, the timing is right, the date and everything like that, who's home, who's away. And where I'm getting at with that is how sexy of a matchup for girls, not just boys, could be on this, for a girls' game between Bearden's girls, who have been phenomenal the last couple of years, and like the Webb girls. That would be a hell of a matchup that you could have. Bearden versus Webb. Bearden girls and Farragut girls has been pretty good as of late too. In fact, Farragut girls were the ones that ended the winning streak, if you think about that. So,
yep, I remember that.
Yeah. So I'm just saying that you could have certain games that would really generate some hype. I really believe that. And especially if a couple of teams are going to be very strong in their respective classifications or regions, generate a matchup that's good, that could bring money to both programs, not just the TV, but the fact that, you do have the crowd there and so forth to make that an electrifying experience, like you said, too, Pear, honestly. So,
yeah, really. I mean, you would have so many different type of matchups, and just the way the football is covered, I think if we highlight basketball in the same aspect with the right viewership and sponsorship, just from the right businesses like a Walk-Ons, or just think of all these restaurants that could get in on this. Dead End Barbecue, Calhoun's. Y'all should be jumping at the bits at this.
Yeah. No, I mean, it would be amazing. It would be an amazing.
And I think it's going to happen.
Thing. Yeah, I think so too. And we should definitely, push for it and so forth. The other thing too, speaking about the Ville. I wasn't there, unfortunately, on the Friday night at Fulton. I had to work, but I was definitely there. Bless you. I was there for the second day that was at Bearden, and here it was on the Saturday night. And two pair. I think I sent you and Shane the what's it called, the picture, and here it was 8 minutes before literally the jump ball. Both teams are warming up. There's nobody there. And and here's the thing, it wasn't like an astronomical amount of money to get in. They charged me $8 for both games. I mean, what can you, for at least 3 hours of entertainment, get $8, and
Yeah, that's
for
pretty
very
good.
talented, very well coached, competitive teams, vying for that title of King of the Ville, you know what I mean, and so forth. And I hope they do it next year. I really do. I hope that these four teams find a way to do this round robin thing, because and again, I think, as it got closer to the 7:30 game, more people did file in, but it was like, you missed a hell of a game between Fulton and West. I mean, you really did. I know it wasn't last year's Fulton team, but that Fulton team next year, if they keep progressing, and Coach Wright, he always does a good job with that group and everything.
Hmm.
Whenever he gets, they're a scrappy bunch, and
They are.
they'll be
They
in the
are.
conversation next year if they ain't already this year. I mean, they'll get
Yeah.
better by the end of the year. But when you lose like phenomenal generational type talents like the Kimber twins, I
Hmm.
mean,
Hmm.
like, that's come on. I mean, they were dominant, and they're showing out in college as freshmen right now too. So, I mean,
But I do like the Smith kid.
yeah. Oh
You
yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, he knows what's up. So yeah.
I do like what they have. They're very young, and Jody is one of the, what I'm saying, one of the best. He is one of the best coaches. I mean, you can call him the Coach K, the Jim Calhoun.
Oh yeah, without
He
a doubt.
shows you how to win, and he's one of the best coaches to have ever coached any
Hmm.
type of basketball. Like, when it comes to Jody Wright, there's not too many that I can name better.
Yeah, and
And
the other thing too, he works the officials too, but not like how Jawan does it, because Jawan's talking to you or whatever, like,
he's talking to me though.
he's
You know
talking to you and
what?
say, you got to be coaching a game, what are you
Why
doing over
why
there?
is it
So,
why is it that they talk to the guy that is juicing the game for my team?
that's right, that's
As
right.
a public address announcer, I am making you feel a part of the game. I'm making you feel a part of the game. He always wants to come at me,
He does,
and this goes back to Rocky Top days.
it does. Well, and I'm gonna embarrass you just a little bit or whatever. I laughed at the fact that one of the referees was glad you didn't have you on the mic or whatever, giving him the business during the game, but you still gave him the business from the stands. I mean, even Paul Romero's like, I feel like I'm listening to an episode with Rebels with a Cause with you and me like criticizing every play, like we were like giving them the business, yelling and everything. So yeah.
We were,
Well, hey,
we
I'll tell you
were.
this. A couple of Fulton fans bumped me, by the way, when I was trying to get those stats or whatever. And I saw you. I saw you. And it's okay. It's all with love. Trust me. I'm
Oh
still a
man,
beast, by the way, and I don't move that easily.
hey
So I
man,
like the
yeah.
bump. Trust me. So,
Oh man, but you know what? Like,
we still won.
that game. Um, can we go back to the first game real quick?
Yeah, let me, the Bearden one or the West game? Or the Austin
Uh,
East game?
Austin East game.
Yeah,
Austin
let's go
East
there.
game.
So that one was the Friday night game that I missed that you
So
were
yeah,
telling me about. So, yeah.
so on this, the West and Austin East game, Kalu Fofana
Hmm.
he just played phenomenal. Kalu
Yeah.
Fofana played phenomenal. Birch played phenomenal. I got there late, but I saw the replay, so I was able to rewatch the game.
Well, while you talk, I've got the
Mm,
stat. I got their stats for that game. Hold on one
okay,
second. So, yeah, keep talking though. Hold on one moment. So while
but
I look that up.
I want to say, like, Birch played a well balanced game. Kalu off the bench. I really, you got to find a way to get this guy as much playing time as possible. Like, you got to put this guy in the games. Like, he's got to see he is. I'm telling you, he's going to be one of the best young point. West has so much talent. It's just finding out what is going to work while Reese is hurt, and it's kind of tough. But in this game right here, they beat them by 21. I'm gonna say this: Dre, the assistant coach over there, you know what I'm saying, Dre Matthew, who was incredible at his days at Central and at Minnesota. He's gonna get that Austin East team where they need to be as an assistant coach. Like I would be. You don't want to see that Austin East team around February. They're going to become a better team. It's just they got to find their way and navigate with losing the Cherries. Like, who's going to really be that guy? Like, I think it can be D-Mark. I really do. I think D-Mark can be that guy for them. Austin East is deep and talented with, you know what I'm saying, Pruitt is nice. They've got a nice roster. It's just finding out who's going to be their go-to guy, and I think it's got to be D-Mark.
Here's the stat sheet real quick for you. I'll read all the names, and I'll highlight the players you asked for specifically. Jalen Hill had 8 points. Garrett Birch 4 3-pointers for 12 points.
Hey, that's our prize picks with the law firm of 3. We will turn your rec into a check.
So yep. And you got 2 from Malik Wilson, and I shout out to him, man. His defense against Fulton the other night, man, they didn't want none of him. His defense was amazing. He only had 1 foul. Playing defense with your feet. That's what I preach all the time, man. Not swiping and reaching. Play with your feet. So
every team in Knox County needs a Malik Wilson.
Yeah, he was all over.
He does everything. Let me say this: Malik could score if he wants to, but for this team, they need him with that sticky defense, those rebounds, passing, block shots. Like, dude, he's the glue.
He's a solid 4 off the bench to spell Kevin Jack when he needs a breather.
He holds everything together. Yeah, and that's the type of, like, every basketball team needs a guy that he can hit the open shot. He can hit his free throws. He boxes. Like, bro, Malik Wilson is what you need on every team. He can
cover. And his length allows him to cover 1 through 4. A 5 might be a tough matchup, like somebody tall like Devin, but 1 through 4, he's a solid defender because Coach E even made an adjustment and put him on one of Fulton's better players, and they didn't score when he was on him. Honestly, they did not. So shout out to him, you know, in the 2 points. You mentioned Kalu Fofana, 13 points, by the way. That's what he had, 13 points. 15 for Big Devin. Jack Keith had 2. Robert Schuler had a 3-pointer, law firm of 3 again. Joe Dupree had a 3-pointer. He had 8 points. You also had 3 points from David Sanders. And to round out the scoring was Mr. Kevin Jack. He also had 3 points. So that was the 71, and it was everybody was getting in on the act. It seemed, you know, that they got out there and played in that game and so forth. And I'm sorry I missed it. I had to work. Unfortunately, that's all I've been doing lately.
Yeah, I got there late. Yeah. By the time I got there, it was 20. You know what? The last 2 times that Austin East has seen West, it's been noticeably different.
Yes. Yeah.
Except for the first time that they beat us.
And that was a back and forth game. That could have gone any way. That was one of your favorite games you ever said.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites.
I remember that. So yeah. You know, and then, you know, going to this other game, the scoring for the West Fulton game was this. Of course, we totaled 61 points. Jalen had 10 solid points. Birch had 2. Devin Martin fought foul trouble. I mean, Devin Martin got his second foul with 4 minutes to go in the first quarter and literally had to sit the rest of the half. We were battling foul trouble all game long. I mean, Keith had a few, or Kevin Jack had like 4 fouls, but he still finished with 20 points. And I mentioned Devin. Devin finished with 19, not even barely playing the second quarter and like a half of a first quarter, and still managed to get 19 points. That's what a special player Devin Martin is when he is engaged in touching the ball and doing his thing. You know, Jack Keith gave a solid 5 points in that first quarter when he came in, when Devin was out, honestly. I mentioned Kevin Jack's 20 points, 2 points for Robert Schuler, and Joe Dupree got in on the 3 to keep that going for the law firm of 3. I mentioned Malik and Kolu Fofana. They both got in that game, but they didn't score, but they definitely contributed when they were in there. To Per and Shane. So that's something to look forward to, as we get in the swing of things. We definitely have to utilize that depth because without Reese, and I want to give a shout out to Reese because I know that must have been so tough to get hurt right before that tournament. He grew up playing a lot of those kids from Fulton and Austin East, and everything like that. And to not be able to play them. Now, he'll hopefully get another shot at Austin East, but he won't get to play Fulton. And the same thing, he will. Listen, I said it last night. You had a beautiful post on Facebook, but I said round 2 is going to be a different story.
Oh,
absolutely. And I saw some of the parents heart my thing. They hearted it, and they were all like, hey, I mean, it was cool. It was really cool because I know what I'm talking about. Round 2 is going to be a different story. Okay, and you have a player in the magnitude of Reese Clark. It's definitely noticed, man. I feel that he also calms things for Jalen. I also feel that he is a weapon that you have to account for him on the court at all times, that it frees up a shooter to take their time. I sometimes find Birch or whoever's out there rushing their shot. If you're worried about Reese taking that 3, then, you got 2 guys going there. Somebody's open, and that's what's been missing without Reese out there. It also frees up Devin, too, that they can't double team Devin. They've got to account for Reese as well. So when we get that back, it's going to be a different story. I mean, you can argue to me all day long, well, they still had who they had. It's a different team when you have a player of that magnitude.
But you
Don't
want to know
insult
something?
my intelligence.
You want to know the guy that I think is going to be taking the jump? I think there's 2 guys that are making jumps. Robert Schuler is making that jump too.
Yeah.
He's guarding the best guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's defending well.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Can I say something about him too, Per? And I think I was a little critical of him, but you just actually brought up something that just came to my head. Think about this. He's a starter this year. Last year, he came off the bench. So there was a luxury there. He could kind of see what was going on, and he really contributed out there. Not that he's not doing it now, but there's a difference. And Shane, you can attest to this. When you come from watching on the bench and you come into a game, if you're paying attention and you know what you need to do, you can definitely contribute. And see that when you're a starter, it's a different story. You don't have that luxury. You gotta, adapt on the fly or so forth, or you get the hook. And it's been an adjustment for him, but I think he is coming around. His defense is phenomenal. And I mean, it's almost a crime when him or Dupree or Birch shoot the ball and it rims out. It's like, damn, are those rims just that tight or something? Because they're getting good looks. And as you can see in the Austin East Fulton game, those 3s were falling for those guys. For whatever reason on our gym, they just ain't falling. And I want Romero to inspect those rims because it ain't being kind to our guys, and that's supposed to be our home court. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where I think against Fulton, you saw them really just lock down, lock in, make the right plays, right time. I really thought that the day 1 was probably the best they looked. Day 2 was the gritty game. That was kind of like a game that they had against Sevier County, but Fulton is young. So they did what they needed to do against Fulton. Like I said, well-coached team, very young, but they're going to be a problem to deal with in their region. And then when you get to last night's game, the game is actually closer than the score suggests.
Yeah, I think it was the free throws at the end. I mean, and again, they made their free throws. We did not. That's the story. That's just like Sevier County all over again. So,
that was the story. But the turnovers at inopportune times by the inbound passes. There were 2 that were probably it was some tough. The turnovers that you can point out to are the ones. It's like the turnovers, the missed free throws. There was countless times where we went to the line and missed free throws. It's very uncharacteristic of a West High team.
Yeah.
Like, traditionally, at West, it was, 10 free throws in a row. Then, 20 free throws in a row. It just, you had to work on those habits. Like, I remember a game against Carnes where I had to hit both free throws for us to go into overtime.
Yeah.
Like, we were down, and I'm like, oh man, we're down. Like, I gotta make these.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm saying, by the grace of God,
You made them.
I make the
Well, but you know what though, Two Pair, you pointed out something at the Fulton game, especially, and again, I watched what I could last night, being in the meeting that I was
yeah.
in, and so forth. But truth be told, why are you rushing that free throw? You bounce the ball, take a breath. Even if the crowd's being loud. At West, more times than not, you're quiet. You know what? There's more quietness and so forth. But
But I tell the kids,
yeah,
there's nobody there.
there's nobody there. It's just you and that hoop. That's
If
it.
they're telling you to miss it, you block out the. This is what I like about guys like Jack Keefe.
Yeah.
Jack Keefe blocks out the noise.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And when I say he blocks out the noise, last night he had one of the nastiest finger roll coast to coast. Like, we might have to call Jack Keefe white chocolate. He might be Captain Jack Keefe white chocolate. That jump was nasty. Like,
Mm-hmm.
he had two of the nastiest layups where he went in the end. Like, I just want to say this. Jack Keefe is a phenomenal freaking athlete. Like, Captain Jack, he
Mm-hmm.
is like, he one of them ones in both sports. Like, bro, he's the backup guard, but he could probably start anywhere in
Oh yeah.
Knox County
Oh
just
yeah.
because of his heady play. He's shifty. He gets guys rolling, but like, I thought Jalen was rolling last night. Jalen got rolling early,
Mm-hmm.
and then it just the rhythm. Jalen is a rhythm player. When he is in rhythm, it was going. And I really think with Reese on the other side, and then you could either have Schuler or Birch, that gives you a lot to work with. And I want to say this coaching staff is doing a phenomenal
They
job.
are doing a phenomenal
Like,
job.
they're
No,
doing a
no.
phenomenal
There's
job.
there's no doubt about it. So there is no doubt about
Like
it. I mean,
they're doing a phenomenal job.
you talk about free throws being the story in this game. I'm looking at this, and it makes me sick to my stomach because you shot 50% from the free throw line. You were 13 of 27. You make 7 of those. I mean, obviously it's an 8. Okay, I'll go. You know what I mean, though.
I get you. I
You
get
get it.
you. Yeah.
You
I
get it
get
because
it.
here's the thing: they wouldn't be hitting not at the end if you make half of your free throws. You're just playing straight up defense, and they're scrambling to try to hit a 3 or something to send it to overtime. Is what I'm getting at. I mean,
Yeah.
if you could even shoot 70% from the free throw
Yeah.
line as a team, you win that game last night. That's what's
Yeah.
sickening to me.
And
So
and I will say this.
yeah,
Bearden, I never seen Jamichael Blair Jr. have an off night like that. He's not accustomed to having an off
no.
night. King Hubbard played phenomenal.
Hmm. As he
I
would, as he
yeah,
would with Nordine. I mean, that's
yeah,
yeah, you knew it.
yeah,
You knew they would.
yeah. You just knew it was about to happen. Like, I really like, and then of course Dominique Mahoney is he's a hooper.
Hmm.
Like,
I mean,
he's a
Bearden's
hooper.
always had really good players, pesky players, and they always seem to save their best for West. I made a
Yeah,
rhyme
they
there.
do.
You know what I
It's
mean?
just
They
they
do. So
always do.
they always
And
do.
I told Coach Parrott, like, it's gonna be us and them. Like,
Yeah.
but I really think the guys, you just gotta just keep locking in, because they've got 2 losses. and you were in both of those games. They're not anything to where it was you. I always say this: if you're in the game like this, 64-56, 61-59, 71-50, you have the smallest attention to detail that will keep you disciplined throughout the season. So that's why, like, watching this game, I didn't really want to film too much of it.
No. Because here's the thing: we can get a little bit of highlights, but the main thing is that we're paying attention to the tendencies and the flow of the game, and what's the pace and what's going on with it. And
that's why it's so good that now you have the tripod, and
exactly, yeah. And I shouldn't have another game I missed this year. So, but so there's that. Here's the box score in case anybody's curious. Jalen Hill had 15 points, phenomenal game. Devin Martin had 19, he had 14. Excuse me, he had 14 points. 6 for I believe Jack Keith. Yeah, 6 for Jack Keith. 9 for Robert Schuler. 9 for Kevin Jack. And 3 for Joe Dupree. So that was the scoring yesterday. And realistically, I mean, Reese is good for 13 points at least. We saw him, score 20 a couple of times. And even if he gets you 10, you win that game. That's how vital Reese is out there and the rotation. So, like I said, round 2 is going to be a different story. We've got a lot of basketball before then. We've got these holiday tournaments coming up. And our next game is actually going to be on December 19th. In the first day of that tournament, we're playing Tennessee Heat, which I guess is a travel team. Is that who they are? I don't know anything about them, two pairs. So, but that is who we drew in this tournament. It's a 3-day tournament being held the 19th, 20th, and 21st. I don't know where it's
at. Is that a
at,
Heritage?
No, the Heritage one is actually the 27th, 28th, and 29th or something.
Okay. Which one is this one?
This one, I don't know where it's at, but it's on it starts the 19th, which I believe is this Saturday, if I'm or no, it's Thursday.
I think tomorrow.
It's tomorrow,
Okay.
the 19th. So yeah, but but they're playing the Tennessee Heat. I don't know where it's at, but I saw it on the app. So, but I didn't see a location. So, but obviously it's not at West because you're not calling it tomorrow night. So, I'm just saying, like, so it's some neutral tournament game, and hopefully we've get past that loss and show out and win this tournament, because I think if you get experience winning these type of tournaments, you'll be ready for the big district one that will be here before you know it. So yeah, for sure. So yeah. Want to say one more thing too. Lady Rebels are still searching for that first win. They went up against a buzzsaw of a Bearden team that is just a powerhouse, and that's something that I think, give Coach Graves a little bit of time, he'll get Bearden there too. Because let me tell you something, in the 90s, under Richard Cowan, Bearden's Lady Bulldogs were amazing. They had Jennifer Simpson. They had some great players.
Jennifer Simpson.
Yeah,
she was incredible.
Yeah, no, they had some good players back in the day. And those Bearden teams always went up against Oak Ridge's girls and would fall short, And then Bearden's program, after Cowan retired and went to CAK, their program took a little bit of a dive, but they made the right hires, and they were practically state champions / national champions and didn't lose a game, and they were looking well on their way, and Farragut put together a Herculean effort that knocked them out, and so forth. But I say all that look at where their girls program is right now in both soccer and in basketball. That's what, with an athletic director like Romero and the coaches he's hired to be in that position, give us 5 years and we'll be that type of program. Yeah. Honestly,
I think so
I
too.
believe that. So
I do too. I really
do. You get the girls that fit your system.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have those coming in because he came from Bearden Middle, right?
Yeah, he came from Bearden Middle. Yeah.
So you're gonna get the girls that you have in there, and you start building the program up, and you're gonna get more and more talent. I mean,
I want to say this.
Yeah.
Ashton Stewart, Jemiah Williams. Like, I want you guys to continue to keep shooting the ball.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And then like I think Lizzie Johnson, she's not fully healthy with the ankle, or
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
it's like I said, I wasn't at the game unfortunately yesterday, but that one last week, it was like a mash unit. I hate to say it. Like, I mean, it's
Yeah,
definitely, and they don't have the depth yet that other teams do, you know, like, I
yeah.
mean,
And they're
there's some teams
learning.
that, then
Like,
they're learning. Yes,
and the thing
absolutely.
is, one thing I will say, you got to give credit to Cody because he's having to rebuild a culture. He's
Mm-hmm.
having to he's having to rebuild conditions and tendencies, and you want a Mike Asia Jackson to keep shooting the ball. Like, yeah, keep shooting the ball. We want you to be able to, you know what I'm saying, break this press break. We
Mm-hmm.
like Charlie Freeman is one of the toughest competitors of young women I've seen on the court. Like,
Mm-hmm.
they're working hard, and the thing is, they're putting in effort. Like Malia Queener's getting better in her post movement.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna just take a lot of time for them to get that first win, and they're building a program.
They are.
We gotta crawl before we walk.
Absolutely, and you know, like I said, I didn't see last night's game, but you know, thinking back to the Sevier County game last week, just the hustle by a Paisley Scott too out there as well. You know, just like not giving up even if you're down by a big margin, and hustling and playing defense. You know, it's going to take time. And perfect analogy, you got to crawl before you walk, and we'll get there. I mean, we'll totally get there. The other thing too is look at that schedule. I mean, Bearden, Farragut, Maryville. It's a bloodbath of a region. I mean, I
Crazy.
hate to keep being stereotypical with that. Next year, you know, let's see if, you know, how this team or next year's team competes with, I'm not saying a softer schedule, but you're not playing the queens of the court. I mean, that's the truth of it. I mean, you know, you're going to play some programs that are in building stages as well. And, you know, maybe you're that ahead of the game with who you've just hired and what he's instilling into the program. So I like what I see. And I'll tell you this, it's definitely enjoyable and watchable to watch. And they still look like they're having fun and believe in the system, despite having to go up against one of the toughest schedules, you know, in the area and so forth. Every night that they perform either at home or on the road. So, but so keep trying, girls, keep fighting for that first win. So, moving on, guys, we got some business Saturday night in the shoe. The playoffs begin Friday night technically, but there's going to be 3 games on Saturday, 1 on Friday. I mean, what? Obviously, we're excited about the vested interest we have of Tennessee at Ohio State, and I want that chat box to definitely contribute. What's your predictions? Who do you think's going to win this game? But truth be told, guys, I could be wrong, and I'll apologize on next week's show when we have it. But I mean this when I say this from the bottom of my heart, guys. I think we go in the shoe and we beat that ass. I really believe that. I don't think that's a team that already has players defecting. And for the most part, most of Tennessee guys are all locked in. And that's another thing that bothers me, guys. I mean, and I'm going to let you
Oh
all
yeah,
like just,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
No, say it.
Why are you're locked into the playoffs? You have teams that got left out, and we've got players in the transfer portal from these playoff teams. What the hell is going on? I get sitting out a bowl game and you're worried about your draft stock, but your transfer, I mean, you could win a freaking ring even if you're not contributing. What the hell is this, guys?
I
This is
know.
absurd
I just
talk.
saw where one of Tennessee's cornerbacks, Jordan Matthews, transferred and signed with Vanderbilt. Like, is the competition that deep where you know you're not going to freaking make the field anymore? Like, I mean, I love the NIL and the transfer portal for guys who, like, you know, you need your time to shine, but man, you're in contention for a natty.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like
Like,
that Georgia cornerback. They even have a bye week, and that Georgia cornerback is going. I forget where he transferred to, but somebody paid some buku bucks for him. Honestly, so yeah. And did anybody see what Oklahoma paid for John Mateer over at Washington State?
uh,
$3 million NIL deal. by the way. $3 million. So they're hoping that they've got a new Cam Ward, even though he's not Cam Ward, but a Washington State quarterback for the second straight year is the king of the NIL money when it comes to quarterback. And he's actually making $5 million more than because Cam Ward's deal was for $2.5 million, if I'm not mistaken, with Miami. So Oklahoma's paying $3 million for John Mateer. So yeah,
if y'all see me out at every single football field with my son, making him run routes and pitch footballs and ask questions, I'm trying to secure the bag at this point.
I mean, shoot. I mean, can you imagine?
That needs a new truck.
Yeah, I mean, there's some stupid money being thrown around, and again, it's the playoffs. And how could you be wanting to leave before the playoff game? I mean, if you've been eliminated, fine. But God,
the only ones I can see like you're leaving, and I think the portal shouldn't even open until after bowl season. But like, if you like were buried on the depth chart, you had no significant playing time. I get it, but if you're a key contributor, like, come on, like,
yeah,
I miss the days of loyalty. Like, I love the NIL players should always get paid, but the portal's getting crazy, and there needs to be some changes.
There really does. There really does.
Portal should not be open until after the entire last national championship game.
January 21st, that would be officially. January 21st, it's a Tuesday. Make that the day.
Make that the day.
I mean, signing day used to be on Tuesday. So.
Yeah. Well, you know, the other thing, too, if you think about that, and you guys have a point with that, is that you still have enough time to transfer and get into the into a program. Most second semesters don't really start till that last week of January anyway, after the Martin Luther King holiday. And so, and you still have time to work out, lift weights. You probably have a private trainer anyway at that point. And spring ball don't start for teams till March. So, you know, what's the harm in delaying it a month, honestly? You know what I mean? Type of a thing. So,
yeah.
I mean, hell, you could even do it the first week of January or whatever, and realistically, that would probably leave, what, maybe 4 teams left, the Final Four in football, technically, and you know that no one's going to leave just yet because they're all invested in, or they should be, but I'm just saying that it should really definitely wait till after the majority of the bowl games are played at that point, so, because it's the Wild Wild West right now. It really is. It's crazy, so, yeah. You know, but you know, I wanted to give Carrie's prediction, and anybody else that's, you know, definitely throw it out there. I've got Tennessee 28, Ohio State 17. I like it, Carrie. I do. And you know, some people are pointing to the weather it could be a factor. You know, but here's the truth of it, guys. That Ohio State Michigan game, I watched a lot of it. I was going back and forth between that game and Tennessee Vanderbilt, and I just think that Michigan kept it so vanilla and was able to run the ball on Ohio State. And I think if Tennessee can run the ball on Ohio State and control the clock, that might get Ohio State's offense into a desperation mode where they're maybe turning the ball over. I don't think that much of Will Howard. I mean, you know, in the 2 biggest games that Ohio State's had, and you could even technically throw that Penn State game in there as well, even though they won by the skin of their teeth in Happy Valley, Will Howard has made some very questionable calls for the NIL money they're paying him and for being a 5th-year senior. And he's not a heady player. And if Tennessee can get in his head and he starts throwing interceptions or does buffoonery out there, I think that and Tennessee, you know, controls the ball like you know, basically doesn't have the stupid turnovers and doesn't get any dumb penalties. I think Tennessee wins this by a very good margin, you know, 10 to 14 points, easily a comfortable win from start to finish if they do those things. What do you all think about your feel for the game this week?
I think Tennessee's run game dominates. I think our defense dominates. I'm taking us by 17 plus.
I really think if the running game if we get out into the tempo early, I just don't see us losing to Ohio State. I really don't.
Our fans are crazy. You're about to turn I mean, I saw, they said it was on Apple Maps today that they labeled it Neyland North.
Mm-hmm.
There's about to be a sea of orange invade Columbus, Ohio, and they are about to witness what Tennessee football is. We will take over your stadium and make it our own.
I hope we do plant the flag. I hope we do plant the damn flag.
LSU 2 years ago, during the 22 season, a day game filled with orange in back.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
At Vanderbilt, what we do every time we go there.
Oh, that was a sea of orange there at Vanderbilt.
My thing is this: if you think there's 100,000 that goes into Neyland, think of how many is going to travel to the Horseshoe. It's not that far.
Yeah. And listen, I might be skipping ahead.
5 hours and 20 minutes from my house. I used to make 7-hour drives easily from here to South Carolina while I lived down there.
I'm going to throw this out there, guys. I might be getting ahead of myself, but how impressive will that sea of orange be in the Rose Bowl? And it's supposed to be a home game for Oregon, being the West Coast team and the number 1 seed.
Hey, Tennessee's nationwide.
They are. No, and they will travel to go to the Rose Bowl, the granddaddy of them all.
I remember I lived in San Diego. We're going back to 2004 through 7. I walked into a Walmart wearing a Tennessee jersey. And the amount of Go Vols and Arian Foster support fans, I'm 3,000 miles away, or about 2,500 miles away.
Yeah.
And I'm still getting it. Because I read my orange wherever I was.
Absolutely.
We've got people who've got the money. And shit, my best friend from the Marine Corps, we already said, Tennessee makes this a national championship, we are going. He's going to tell his wife and kids, hey, here's all the money, I'm leaving. All I got to do is go take my kids to their mom. All right, I'll see you in a couple of days.
Shane, it's funny that you mentioned that because, I was having this discussion with the guy at the business meeting I was at, Braden, shout out to him. We were talking because he's a Tennessee grad and I'm a Tennessee grad. And it's like, what a time to be a Tennessee fan right now. You just won the baseball championship in the summer. Your basketball men's team is undefeated and number 1. Your women's team is undefeated. Won again tonight, is climbing the ranks. And you've got a football team that is in firm position with a 1 in 12 chance to win this playoff. 1 in 12. So why not? It's there for the taking. I mean, that would be an amazing freaking year. We've suffered. We've suffered for years, so it's owed to us.
We deserve this.
Yes. Yeah. And shout out to Danny White. I mean, the coaching hires he made. It's all about the athletic director. Like we praise Paul Romero. You are as good. Your program starts at the top with the athletic director and the type of coaches you want to hire, and that they instill their values and create a culture that men and women can grow in and be successful in their respective sports.
No, it's true. Very true.
Yeah.
All right.
Very true.
It's just great seeing Tennessee back towards the top and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Because
it's beautiful.
That decade of complete dysfunction.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you guys that. There's all sorts of things. How did it get so bad? Because in the 90s, they were competitive in all sports across it. A little bit in the early 2000s, but something happened. And you can't tell me the donors or, I know people kind of move on, but my God, it was just unbelievable.
I'll tell you exactly who it was. We don't have his gas stations around here that much anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, after Mike Hamilton left, and we got freaking, what was his name? Dave Hart and Jimmy Cheeks running the school. No.
Jimmy Cheeks should have been called Ash Cheeks, so he sucked.
Man. I mean, but shit, Fulmer hired Jeremy Pruitt.
That one is still a mystery right there. Honestly, that
hurt. As much as I love Fulmer, I really think that hurt his legacy here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, because realistically, I don't know. I don't know why there were. I forget who the other candidates were, and it's not important. I guess my point is that it is shown that just because they come from Alabama doesn't mean that they actually succeed. You know what I mean? They were assistants for a reason, honestly. And I knew that Pruitt wasn't the guy in that first Florida game that he coached, and he's kicking the whiteboard. And yet, Florida just had hired Dan Mullen himself, and everything like that. And Dan Mullen obviously had been established over at Mississippi State and was offensive coordinator under Urban Meyer. But the difference of who was the experienced coach and who was that. And I know you get frustrated with your team, but you don't kick the damn whiteboard and break it or whatever. And then that was really shown over and over throughout that broadcast, and really totally ignored the fact that Florida won again that game. But still, that was what was highlighted.
It's hard. You can't just go from a coordinator. I mean, sometimes you can. A coordinator to a head coach at not considered a Power 4 school, because we don't have the 5 big conferences. We
don't have the 5 anymore. Yeah, it's Power 4.
You need to go be a head coach somewhere. Not necessarily like maybe a lower tier D1 school, but you don't just jump from coordinator to I'm handing you the reins to one of the most popular brands in football. Because the Power, even though we had that horrible decade, the Power team.
Yeah, well, and look at the fans. I mean, the fans still showed up for the most part. I mean, they were dying for a winner, in any sport. And it's like you give them a reason to go somewhere, they'll show up. And look no further than Neal and North, and that's going to show Saturday. I will say this, Shane, can you pull up the 4 playoff games starting with Friday? Because I'd like to pick them. I'd like the 4 of us to pick them and just to see what we think will happen, at least this first round. We'll worry about the next round later, but yeah.
Friday, 8 o'clock. We've got number 10, Indiana, at number 7, Notre Dame on ABC and ESPN.
I might be stupid for saying this, but
nah.
I like Indiana to upset Notre Dame. I don't think Notre Dame has played that tough of a schedule. I know they've got the home field advantage, but I really like Cincinnati, their coach over at Indiana, what he has done this year. And you give him 2 weeks to prepare for Notre Dame as opposed to just a week that he's had before the other games. I think he's got something up his sleeve, and I think he outcoaches Marcus Freeman, and Indiana beats Notre Dame in Notre Dame Stadium, which would, like you all said last week, would drive that whole fan base crazy, because Indiana is known as a basketball school and Notre Dame is a football school, and they're not supposed to lose to Indiana or Purdue or the others, big schools in Indiana. So,
I mean, last week I was pulling up schedules and teams they played. Until Notre Dame joins the conference and plays a legitimate conference schedule, stop ranking them where they are.
Yeah.
I want to see Indiana win. I don't think an independent school should even be they should have been lower in the seating. I think we should have been up higher, obviously, but you played USC. You play USC all the time. USC is garbage right now.
Yeah.
You play a jumbled up ACC schedule just because you have to have something, and you play the bottom tier teams.
Yes. Thank you. They didn't play Clemson. They didn't play Miami. They didn't play SMU. They didn't even play what's their names that was in it for a while, Pitt or what have you. You know,
Yeah.
they played the bottom tier. And no disrespect to Florida State, because that was supposed to be one of the big matchups this year, that Notre Dame Florida State game, and it didn't live up to the billing. USC was trash. You know, that traditional matchup. Here's one for you guys, by the way. Why is the second helmet game not being played anymore between Notre Dame and Michigan? Because that used to be like a yearly thing. Why is that game not being played? If the helmet game is Michigan versus Ohio State, why is the second helmet game between Michigan and Notre Dame not being played?
Yeah.
So I rest my case. You know, their schedule was terrible. They lost to Northern Illinois, and Northern Illinois didn't even win the MAC. That's the other thing too. That should have been held against them. Like, that was a terrible loss. If you're going to penalize Miami for losing to two conference teams, or who else was left out? Alabama for losing to the SEC. They lost to conference teams. They didn't lose to the school you paid what, $600,000 to play that game, and you lost it at home. Not even on the road, at home.
I put up
Devastating loss that should have been really held even higher against them.
I think the only reason Notre Dame even made it into the playoffs, their win over Texas A&M, win over Louisville,
Yeah,
win over Navy and Army, because they were all ranked.
yeah. And
But that's
clearly,
their final rankings.
yeah.
But here's their full schedule: Texas A&M, Northern Illinois, Purdue, Miami, Ohio, Louisville, Stanford, Georgia Tech, Navy, Florida State, Virginia, Army, and USC. You won convincingly, but who did you truly play besides Texas A&M?
Guys, let me tell you something. Stanford was one of the worst football teams I've seen all year. I know that they've done something with Andrew Luck now kind of being like a COO, and more power to him, but that program was so amazing with Toby Gerhardt and obviously Christian McCaffrey. How that program has fallen since the days of Harbaugh is unbelievable. And you can't point to academics being the hard thing, because Duke just went 9-3 with Manny Diaz as their first year coach. Vanderbilt's going to a bowl game and was competitive in all their games.
Alabama.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. I don't want to hear that academics was hard for them or whatever, that to get players, because Duke and Vanderbilt are doing it. And we're not talking basketball. We're talking football. So again, but again, Notre Dame plays that Notre Dame Stanford game, and that's a W every time. They didn't even play Syracuse, in football this year. That would have been a sexy matchup with Syracuse's high-powered offense. My point is that even if Notre Dame wins this game against Indiana, I mean, I don't see them beating the next game. I mean, I just don't think they've played anybody that, I think Boise State could beat Notre Dame if they played. So, because I think that's who they would play next. So, but all right. So I've got Indiana. What do you have, guys? I mean, so
if Notre Dame or Indiana wins, they play Georgia next.
Oh, they're done. It's a one and done, baby. It's a one and done.
Who you got?
I got Indiana. I got Indiana against Notre Dame. So I'm going to stick with my Indiana pick with Cignati.
Shane, who you got?
Go Hoosiers.
I want Indiana to win, but I think Notre Dame's going to win. Notre Dame's going to win.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I do not want Notre Dame to win, because
but you got to be smart.
This guy named Scott Randall. This guy is the biggest Notre Dame fan I know, and he lives in Columbus. I don't ask me. Don't ask.
Wow.
Me.
Wow. Happy New Year.
And guess who his favorite basketball team is? Guess who his favorite NBA team is?
All right, I'm going to throw a name out there. The Thunder.
No, Indiana.
Oh, the Pacers. The Pacers. There you go. So,
I don't think I've ever met a Pacers fan.
I have. I have. I've met a
How do
Pacers
you
fan.
live in Ohio and you're an Indiana Pacers fan? Crazy.
He was the
Crazy.
guy I knew was like huge into Reggie Miller back in the day when they
And
had.
that's what it is.
Yeah,
He's a
that's it.
Reggie Miller
Reggie
fan.
Miller. Yeah, yeah. And
No, it's not.
Jalen, and when Jalen played for him, and so yeah. Rick Smits, all 7'4", Rick Smits. So yeah.
The
All right, what's
Mallets,
this?
the Mallets.
All right, so what's the first Saturday game on the Saturday slate?
12 o'clock, SMU and Penn State.
I think Penn State runs them out. I just think Penn State's too big
Yeah.
up front.
Yeah, I got Penn State. Nittany Lions all day.
Hey, just think, Penn State's not playing Ohio State, so they should win. So they should have almost asked to be matched up with them, or not matched up with them, So they're good. Penn State's good for a win now. So yeah. What do you got, two pair?
I think I might take Penn State. I don't know. I don't feel comfortable with taking Penn State.
That's why they play the games. I just give Penn State the edge because they're obviously the host, right, Shane? Like Penn State is hosting that game, and so
Yep.
SMU has to travel up north. You're going with a warm weather team going up in the elements out there. And I just think Penn State's offense and defensive line are really gonna. If SMU had problems with Clemson's lines of scrimmage, they're gonna have some issues with Penn State's size. They really are, and so forth. So.
But this is what I gotta say: can Penn State win a big game on the national stage?
Do they play Texas next? Who would they play, Shane? Just curious. If Penn State wins, who are they matched up against?
They play Boise State.
They would be Boise State. I think Boise State could beat them.
I think they could. Yeah. No, I mean,
because you know what they're gonna do.
Yeah. Yeah. So and Genty's a beast.
Run the foot. Yeah,
Genty's a beast. So yeah, I mean, if Penn State had trouble with Ohio State's running backs, they're going to have trouble with Ashton Genty. So yeah.
Are we going to get 2005 Boise State with the trick plays against Oklahoma?
Yeah, I mean, we could see it. We could definitely see it. So I mean, it just is like crazy. Kansas State and Boise State both got buys. Like just wow. So just wow. Never would have guessed it. Never. So. All right, so that's the noon game. What's the 4 o'clock game?
Texas and Clemson.
I think Texas whips their ass. I really do, guys. I think Texas wins. I really do.
Yeah. Yeah, Clemson doesn't even deserve to be in here.
They got so lucky. Oh my god!
Next year it needs to be just your top 12. This whole automatic bye.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think that Clemson backdoored their way in. I think that let me tell you something. Texas went toe-to-toe with Georgia, and looking back, if that kicker doesn't miss 2 field goals, Texas technically wins that game. They don't even go into overtime.
Did he miss 2 or 3?
I think he missed 2. I know for a fact he missed 2. And he was actually a reliable guy for them this year. So
all you gotta say is the kicker's been perfect for however many attempts. He's gonna miss the next one.
Yeah, and am I right by saying that Clemson has to travel to Texas? Texas is the host, right? So that's going to be a hell of an atmosphere down there. So give me Texas, And then of course our game is the nightcap, as rightfully it should be. And I think Tennessee wins, man. I am not worried about Ohio State. And the thing is, if they had problems with Michigan's defense, guys, what are they going to do against Tennessee's defense? Tennessee, they've not seen the physicality and the speed. And I know that Tennessee's defense will game plan in stopping Jeremiah, and so forth, their big freshman receiver. And realistically, if you shut him down and get Will Howard to make mistakes and turn the ball over, it's a wrap, guys, especially if we're taking care of the football and controlling the time of possession. So it's a wrap.
Yeah, our defense has been unstoppable. Could you imagine if Kean Peely didn't get hurt?
Oh my God. Yeah, that was huge. And to overcome a loss like that, that's what I stressed the most, where as much as the offense got criticism, the defense, I felt, overcame such a big loss and got better as the year went on. I mean, because truth be told, our offense was the problem in the Georgia game. The defense was dead tired by the end. I mean, they held their own against Georgia. You know, they really did. They were just beat at the end.
So. It should. Our offense has got to click.
They do.
I'm hoping this time between our last game against Vanderbilt and leading up to this, the receivers and Nico are on the same page, and they've fixed any kinks that are in that system. But I was reading things earlier today, like we're already used to the hypo offense, and you go back to when Hendon Hooker was our quarterback and how fast we were. We're not as fast as we were then, and coaches are still having issues like, we don't know how to duplicate this.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I'll tell you this, if they do go fast and they're completing, the passes and making those first downs, Ohio State's going to get tired, guys. They really are. I don't think they have the conditioning to keep up with that. And again, if Michigan's lowly offense can do what it did, I don't know. I just, and here's the other thing too. Question for both you guys. From a neutral standpoint, who looks better going into it? Sure, Tennessee lost to Georgia, but a lot of teams lose to Georgia. Ohio State is coming off of a loss to their rival, and it got ugly after that game. I mean, there's got to be a psychological thing there, and they've heard about this for a few weeks now. Maybe they come out tougher than I think, but they put everything to win that damn game. And they went from going to the Big Ten championship and possibly getting a bye to this situation where they're playing one of the toughest teams in this playoff, even though they're the home team. But the home team didn't help them against Michigan. Go ahead. So, yeah.
I think the Ohio State fan base is already done with Ryan Day.
Mm-hmm.
And you let us get 2 sacks early. The boos come out immediately.
Mm-hmm.
We already know there's going to be a sea of orange. This is me speaking as what I've been reading and seeing all week.
Yeah.
It will be a sea of orange. Professional football players who run their own podcasts are like, Tennessee's got this. Like, Michigan is so stuck. Ohio State is so stuck in their head because of what Michigan did to them and the way they played, that they will turn on their players quick.
Mm-hmm. And they've had players jump in the transfer portal as well already. They have. Yeah. Maybe not key contributors, but backups that they paid major NIL money for, guys, quarterbacks. And my thing is this, is it's like, if Ohio State loses, which we are all predicting will happen, is Ryan Day done? Is he done? And if he is done, who do they get?
I think he gets another year. I think he gets. You make it to the playoffs, you're getting a nice bonus, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I think next year becomes the fall off.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like how we thought Florida's coach was going to be gone. He gets a couple of key victories.
Yeah.
The fact that he's still there is really shocking.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think you're about to see the wheels fall off of the wagon that is Ohio State, and you see where they truly are.
Mm-hmm.
Because in their conference, it's the same main teams every year.
Yep, it is. Now you just had Oregon. That's it.
Yeah, you've had Oregon. That was Penn State, Oregon, Michigan, Ohio State. Michigan had a horrible year after winning a national championship.
Yeah. And then they always have that one team. And Shane, keep your train of thought. They always have that one team, and they're interchangeable between like an Iowa or a Wisconsin. This year it was Indiana. There's always like that one Big Ten team that has that team of the century, and then they fall off, but keep going. Yeah. So, yeah.
But, I mean, it's the same ones. And, I mean, you can even look at Penn State. Like, they're never going to get rid of James Franklin. They're fine with where they're at.
Mm-hmm.
Ohio State has this high standard of themselves. They've only won, what, 2 natties total?
Three natties.
Okay.
They won one. They won one with Woody. They won one, obviously, with Tressel, the Fiesta Bowl fiasco, and then they won the one with Cordero over Oregon and Mariota. So they won 3. Yeah.
But I mean, those are kind of few and far between. Like, they haven't been of any major significance, but they get the recognition because of who they are.
Mm-hmm.
All you gotta do is you beat one of your top rivals,
Mm-hmm.
and you control your own destiny in that league.
Is game day live from Columbus?
Yes.
I figured they would be. So yeah. The other thing too, Perry, and I'd love your thoughts.
I'm a little curious how Herbie calls it, given that he lives in Tennessee and is the Ohio State former QB.
I think he's got Buckeye underwear or whatever like that, and I don't blame him. I mean, look, I'd be the same way, being a Tennessee guy, and so forth. I mean, he played there. He's Ohio State, and I get it. But you do have a point, Shane. And Tupper, I ask you this question. You look at Ohio State in general. The best team money could buy. They spent $20+ million on the NIL. They were taking players from Alabama, recruits. They even demoted Brian Hartline, one of their own former players who has recruited Jeremiah Smith and these great receivers there who thought they were going to be playing for him as the offensive coordinator, demoted him back to wide receivers coach just to steal Chip Kelly from UCLA and make him the offensive coordinator. And they could only muster 10 measly points at home against Michigan. And now they're playing an SEC opponent who, let me tell you this, even when we started off slow in the ball games that we did, we sure did finish them. We sure did finish them. And if you get Tennessee to start fast, which I believe they will, and like you said, Shane, those Ohio State fans, here we go again. I mean, I would be shocked. Maybe they do give Ryan Day a different another year, but man,
Maybe.
But here's the thing: how many coaches have $20 million at their disposal to steal other head coaches to make them assistant coordinators? To steal the best of the best from other teams to get the best recruits in the country, and you still couldn't do it. I mean, that's something. There is something to that. I could be wrong, but there is something to that. So, yeah. Yep.
All right, guys.
Yeah. Oh, real quick. Want to talk real quick about the Vols, #1 in college basketball. Lady Vols undefeated, set the NCAA record. Yeah. I mean, how special is basketball for UT hoops and Lady Vols?
Man,
right now, so
how about Gainey against Illinois? Big game. That was incredible.
Coast to coast. Coast to coast.
We didn't get the calls. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they were calling everything ticky-tack. And just way to leave it in your, player who had the hot hand. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Jay Gainey, man.
What I loved the most was Illinois' coach saying that Gainey had no handles. He had the handles on those last 5 seconds.
No, they found out.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you this. That was a huge win. Quad 1 win on the road. I mean, that was ginormous. And then, to take care of business against a very chippy Miami team in the Jimmy V Classic in New York. That was a lot of traveling last week, and they handled it very well. Took care of Western Carolina last night. Who's next on the schedule, by the way?
Give me a second to pull it up.
Sure. But, I'll tell you this.
Is
and then
it
the
Norfolk
SEC.
State?
Norfolk State?
Middle Tennessee.
Middle Tennessee,
okay.
Then Norfolk. Is it Middle Tennessee, then Norfolk?
Yeah, we play Middle Tennessee Monday, and then.
Also, we're off this weekend for the. Okay, good. Okay.
Middle Tennessee State Monday, and then they don't play again until Tuesday the 31st, and then we start SEC schedule.
Yep. So, and dude, that SEC schedule, guys. I mean, last night I watched well, I didn't watch it, but I saw the highlights. The Gators beat North Carolina, even though North Carolina gave a valiant effort to come back or whatever. But the Gators won. Auburn won, even though I saw Broom hurt his shoulder, but they're a solid ball club. I mean, it's a bloodbath of a conference or something like that. And I could potentially see easily 10 or 11 teams from the SEC getting into the NCAA tournament come
It could
March.
be.
So,
I mean, Auburn is right behind them. I think
mhm.
the way they've been playing defensively and just, the way Meshack just takes the best player out of the game. Like, hey man, they're they're doing all right. And Chaz Lanier got in foul trouble, Ziegler got in foul trouble, and Gainey, steps up, and then Milicic had a dozen rebounds. Felt like.
Mhm. I'll tell you this real quick, guys. You know who a team who I was kind of cracking on at the beginning of the season has really shut me up, and I can't stand them, but maybe they finally got the coach that they've always needed, and that's Kentucky with Mark Pope. I mean, what he's done, they actually play. It's not just rolling out like five freshmen and, hoping it works. I mean, they got really good transfers. They're
Hmm.
probably the oldest they've been since what, Tubby Smith coach there?
Oh
Two Pair,
wow,
what do you think? I mean, because they've always
might
been
be.
young, they have wholesale changes as freshmen. Like the next five freshmen take their spot, or maybe they get a grad transfer or whatever. But this is the oldest Kentucky team easily since Tubby Smith, because Billy Gillespie did nothing when he was there, and he was the coach between Tubby and when Calipari got there and so forth. So it's interesting that uh, the X's and O's are definitely there with Pope, and they have a homegrown son, a guy that played on their national championship teams and knows what's up. So the Kentucky has shut me up so far. Now let's see what happens when they play in conference, but they have some big wins so far in over Louisville, Duke, and I can't believe they lost to Clemson, though. I still can't believe that happened. But and Clemson lost again last night, I saw. So yeah, I mean, just weird how that falls. But the SEC is just brutal. That schedule is just brutal, and I'm excited to see how Tennessee navigates through it. A lot of exciting games, and I hope to catch a couple in Thompson for sure. So yeah, and then the girls. I mean, the girls are doing their thing. I mean,
Yeah,
30
man.
plus 3-pointers. I mean,
That's
you know, that's
record,
awesome.
NCAA record. Shout
Yeah.
out to Kim Caldwell. Like Coach Kim Caldwell is really doing well. Like man, they really get after it. They look good against Memphis tonight. Um,
I had the game pulled up on my phone while we were doing
mm,
all. Even towards the end when they were up 11 points and they ended up winning by 15, full court press.
Oh,
yeah,
I love it.
yeah.
I love it. And what did she say? And finally, we have a coach that actually instills what they said they were going to do, and it was totally Shane. She said teams are going to hate to play us, and
Mm-hmm.
it's showing it. I mean, two pair. She said she's like teams are going to hate to play us, and they are pressing them and squeezing the life out of them till the end of the game. And I haven't seen it, and I love it. Like they are fun to watch, and the players have bought in. I mean, it is refreshing to see the Lady they keep winning like they're doing. I can't wait to see where they're ranked and finally being mentioned in the conversation again. Just a real quick related note to women's college basketball. I know that everybody's going to be focused on football, and it's really a crime that this game is happening at the same time as the football playoffs. I almost wish they would have held it off for Sunday or an off day or something like that. But Juju against Paige Buchers on Saturday, Connecticut versus USC women's basketball. And it's in the middle. That's a game that should have been separate, not played on the same day as the college football playoff.
Mm.
Honestly, so kind of a shot for women's basketball when the rest of the country. It would have been like seeing like Caitlin against forget her name from LSU. So, but yeah. Angel Reese. So yeah. So, but anyway. Great show, though, guys. Great show. You know, so much stuff going on. We said that this was going to be an exciting few weeks, and it hasn't disappointed between football and basketball, and just so much. And shout out to everybody that contributed to the chat box. Shout out to all of our subscribers. You know, remember, hit that like button. You know, subscribe, pass it off to everybody, and you know, just keep doing your thing, honestly. So Shane, two pair final thoughts, and definitely close us out, man, honestly. So
Hey, man.
My only thing is one more time, just happy birthday to my oldest one, Haley. I love you much. I mean, like, you're the one that made me a dad and made me helped me make the man I am now. So happy birthday to my oldest daughter, Haley.
that's awesome. That's awesome. Real quick, I just want to give a quick condolences. A fan of our show, my best friend and brother, Mark Machado, his father passed away last Sunday. He lost his battle to cancer. 20 years was fighting this fight, and he gave it everything he had, and passed away
R.I.P.,
early Sunday morning. So rest in peace, Joe Machado. You were a heart of a lion, larger than life personality, and heaven just gained a very infectious laugh and a hell of a man. So miss you, and love you, Mark, and you and me are going to be getting together very soon. So hang in there, brother. Condolences. Two pair, finish us out, brother. So.
Hey, man, it's Rebels with a Cause, man. Just another incredible episode. And look, y'all have a wonderful week. Throw your dubs up. We'll get back at y'all another time.
You bet. Go Rebels and go Vols. Take care of them Buckeyes.